I want you to think about something deeper. Every result in your life, every dollar in your account, every debt you carry, every opportunity you see or miss is a reflection of your inner philosophy. And here's the hard truth most avoid. You can't build wealth with a poor philosophy. A person with poor thinking could win $1 million tonight and in a few short years be right back where he started or worse. So, stay with me, because what I'm about to share isn't just another talk about money. It's about the foundation of wealth, and it's built right here in your mind, one thought, one belief, one decision at a time. If you're ready, let's begin. I want to speak to you today about an idea that's kept more people poor than almost anything else I've seen in my life. It's this dangerous belief that money is somehow evil, that wanting to be wealthy means you've turned greedy, or that prosperity and morality can't live in the same house. And let me tell you, as long as that thought lives in your mind, wealth will stay far from your door. See, if deep down you believe that money is wicked, you'll push it away without realizing it. You'll sabotage opportunities. You'll turn down possibilities. You'll refuse to see what's right in front of you because your mind will trick you into thinking you're better off without it. And here's what I discovered, and what I want you to discover for yourself. Money isn't evil. Money is a tool. And like any tool, it depends on the hand that holds it. A hammer can build a house, or it can break a window. It's not the hammer's fault. It's what the person does with it. Money simply magnifies who you already are. If you're kind, generous, and wise, money lets you be more of that. If you're selfish and reckless, well, money can help you do that too. But the problem isn't money. The problem is character. I remember when I was young, struggling and flat broke, I'd sit and listen to people talk down about the rich. Those rich folks must have cheated someone to get that kind of money, they'd say. And I almost believed it until I started meeting some of them. And I found something fascinating. The wealthiest people I met weren't villains, they were builders. They created jobs, started charities, sponsored scholarships, lifted up entire communities. They understood what I had missed. Money gives you options. It gives you the chance to serve in ways you never could without it. So what changed for me was when I stopped asking, is it right to want money? And started asking, what will I do when I have it? And the answer became simple. I wanted to use it as a force for good, for my family, for my community, and yes, for myself. Because there's nothing noble about struggling just to get by when you could have done something more, when you could have built, shared, and given. So I urge you, challenge this idea if it's been lodged in your thinking. Don't see money as the enemy. See it as a servant. Put it to work. Put your talents to work to earn it honestly. And then use it with wisdom, with integrity, and with generosity. Because when you see money for what it really is, a tool, you'll stop pushing it away and start inviting it in to help you build the life, the legacy, and the future you truly want. One of the most costly mistakes people make when it comes to building wealth isn't in the numbers of the markets, it's in silence. It's avoiding the hard conversations. I've seen folks who could have changed their entire financial future if only they'd sat down and faced their truth. But instead, they avoided it. They didn't want to look at the bank statement that showed more going out than coming in. They didn't want to talk to their spouse about where the money was really going. They didn't want to sit with an accountant because they were afraid of what they'd hear. And let me tell you, avoiding the hard talk doesn't make the problem go away. It just gives the problem time to grow into something bigger. What you ignore doesn't shrink, it multiplies. And before you know it, a small issue becomes a mountain. I remember the first time I truly faced my own financial reality. I sat across from a man much wiser than me, and he asked, "Do you know where every dollar went last month?" And I had to admit, I didn't. Not really. I had a general idea, but general ideas don't build wealth. Specifics do. That conversation was uncomfortable. It made me squirm, but it was the beginning of change. Because growth always begins with honesty. And honesty begins in conversation. It's when you sit down with your spouse and say, let's look at this together. No blame, no shame, just facts. It's when you meet with someone who understands money, a mentor, a coach, an accountant, and you say, here's where I am. Here's where I want to be. Now, what do I need to change? And let me tell you something. The moment you have that hard talk, the moment you shine a light on what you've been avoiding, you'll feel it. The weight lifts because now you're not running from the problem. You're facing it. And that means you can fix it. That's where control begins. That's where power begins. You can't master what you're unwilling to examine. You can't improve what you're unwilling to admit. And you can't build wealth on a foundation of silence. So if you want to change your financial future, start by breaking the silence, open the books, open the conversation, and open the door to growth. Because the truth might sting for a moment, but it will set you free to build the life you deserve. It's a strange thing how many people sit around waiting for motivation to strike, as if success will begin the day they wake up feeling inspired. But let me share a truth that changed my life and the lives of so many I've known. If you wait for motivation, you'll wait your whole life. Success doesn't come to the person who feels like it today. It comes to the person who shows up today. I've seen it over and over. The people who build wealth, who build freedom, they don't ask themselves how they feel every morning. They decide who they want to become, and then they act in alignment with that decision. Motivation is like the wind. Sometimes it blows your way, and sometimes it doesn't. But discipline is like the rudder. It keeps you on course no matter the weather. When I was young, I thought the successful must have been born with some special energy. I imagined they woke up excited to work, thrilled to budget, eager to study. But the more I learned, the clearer it became they didn't always feel like it. They didn't always have that spark, but they showed up anyway. And that's where motivation comes from. People think motivation starts the engine, but the truth is action starts the engine. The moment you take that first step, when you read that page, make that phone call, set aside that dollar, momentum begins. And when you feel that momentum, motivation follows. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. I remember a cold morning when I didn't want to get out of bed, let alone work on my goals, but I told myself, just start. 5 minutes. And 5 minutes turned into an hour. That's how it works. You don't need to feel like it. You need to act. And if you act today, you'll feel stronger tomorrow. And if you act tomorrow, you'll feel unstoppable the next day. The people who win are not the people with the most passion. They're the people with the most consistency. They do it when it's easy, and they do it when it's hard. And over time, that discipline builds the wealth, the freedom, the success that others only dream about. So don't wait to feel like it. Act first. Let motivation catch up. Because success doesn't belong to those who are inspired. It belongs to those who keep showing up. One of the greatest traps I've seen people fall into, and maybe you've seen it too, is this idea that wealth is mostly a matter of luck. That somehow the people who build fortunes stumbled into it, inherited it, or just happened to be at the right place at the right time. And let me tell you, as long as that's what you believe, you'll sit on the sidelines waiting for lightning to strike, instead of doing the real work that builds wealth. I've met so many folks over the years who point to someone successful and say, they were just lucky. But when you look closer, you see a different story. You see years of sacrifice. You see quiet mornings when no one was watching and they were learning, practicing, saving. You see late nights spent building something from scratch while others were sleeping. Wealth isn't an accident. It's a result. I remember the first time I really started to understand this. I picked up a biography of a man who had built an incredible business. I was curious, did he do it? Did he have rich parents? Was he handed the keys to a kingdom? But as I turned the pages, what I found was discipline. I found failure after failure that he turned into lessons. I found small choices made well day after day. And I realized wealth wasn't about what he inherited. It was about who he became. And that's the truth. For so many people who build great fortunes, they didn't inherit wealth. They inherited the same 24 hours we all have. What made the difference was what they did with those hours. So here's what I encourage you to do. Study self-made people. Read their stories. And don't just admire what they have. Learn what they did. Learn how they thought. Learn how they responded to setbacks. because that's where the real wealth is built. I promise you, it wasn't luck. It was decisions. It was habits. It was persistence when things were hard and progress seemed slow. And that's good news, because if wealth was about luck, there'd be nothing you could do about it. But if it's about decisions, if it's about discipline, if it's about persistence, that means it's within your reach. That means you can build it too. You just have to stop waiting for luck and start working your plan day by day, brick by brick, because that's how real wealth is made. You know, I've always believed that one of the biggest reasons people stay broke isn't just about money at all. It's about time. And isn't that interesting? Because time is the one thing we all get in equal measure. Every one of us wakes up in the morning with the same 24 hours. The rich man, the poor man, the clock gives no favorites. And yet, what we do with those hours makes all the difference. The tragedy is, most people treat their time like it's cheap, like it's something they can afford to waste. But I'm here to tell you, time is more valuable than money. Money, you can lose it and earn it back. But time, once it's gone for good. And if you waste too many hours, you'll look up one day and realize you've also wasted your chances at building the wealth you dreamed of. I remember when I first learned the power of guarding my time. I was young, full of energy, but scattered. I'd say yes to every invitation, every distraction. I thought being busy meant being productive. But then a wise man handed me something that changed everything, a simple planner. He said, write it down. If it's important enough to do, it's important enough to schedule. And that's when I started to understand that my time needed a purpose. It needed direction. I stopped letting the day happen to me and started happening to the day. And that small tool, a planner, a schedule, became the key to turning my time into gold. Because every hour I planned became an hour invested, not wasted. The truth is, building wealth requires that you become a master of your minutes. You've got to schedule your priorities, not just your work, but your learning. Not just your job, but your thinking time, your planning time, and you have to guard that time. Guard it like it's gold, because it is. Think about it. If someone tried to rob you of your wallet, you'd fight to keep it. But every time you let distraction steal your hours, you're giving away something even more valuable. So here's my advice. Start treating your time like treasure. Use a planner. Make appointments with your goals. Block out the noise and focus on what builds, not what entertains. Because how you use your time today will decide how much wealth you build tomorrow. And that's a choice only you can make. I learned long ago that one of the greatest tragedies in life is drifting. You see, most people don't fail because they set goals and fall short. No, most people fail because they never set any goals at all. They wake up in the morning, they go about their day, they earn a little, they spend a little more, and before they know it, years have passed and they're wondering why wealth didn't somehow fall into their lap. But let me share a little truth that changed everything for me. What gets written gets measured, and what gets measured gets improved. If you want to build wealth, you've got to stop treating it like some vague hope and start treating it like a plan, and that plan begins on paper. I remember the moment I started writing down my financial goals. It was after a tough conversation with my mentor who asked me, quote, "Where are you going financially?" I didn't have an answer. I thought working hard was enough. But he taught me that without a clear written target, I was like a ship without a compass, moving, yes, but headed nowhere in particular. So that night, I sat down with a notebook and I started small. I wrote down my savings goal for the month. It wasn't a fortune, just a simple number. Then I wrote down how much additional income I wanted to generate and a few ideas for how to do it. I noted how much I wanted to set aside for investing. And you know what happened? The very act of writing it down made it real. It gave my mind something clear to aim at, something solid to pursue. You've got to do the same. Don't just think about saving more. Write down exactly how much you'll save this month. Don't just hope for higher income. Set a specific target and map out ways to reach it. Don't just say you'll invest, plan where, when, and how much. Because when your goals live only in your mind, they're just dreams. But when they hit the paper, they become commitments. They become measurable. And what you measure, you can improve. So my advice is simple. Stop drifting, grab a pen, and chart your course. Because wealth doesn't happen by accident, it happens by design. And the first step of that design is writing down where you want to go. One of the greatest dangers to wealth isn't what you don't have, it's what you spend before you even have it. And isn't that the story for so many? The paycheck hasn't even cleared the account, and yet the mind is already planning the next purchase, the next gadget, the next indulgence. I saw it early in my own life. I'd get a little ahead, and before the dust settled, I'd already found a way to spend it. There was always something I thought I needed, something I convinced myself would make life better. But let me tell you what I learned, and I hope it saves you from the same costly lesson. The habit of spending before earning is a silent thief. It robs you not just of money, but of peace, security, and your future. You see, wealth isn't built on what you make, it's built on what you keep. And keeping requires restraint. It requires the strength to say, not today. It requires a pause, a gap between the impulse and the action. That's how I started to win at money. I created a simple rule for myself. Anytime I wanted to buy something that wasn't essential and cost over a certain amount, I had to wait 24 hours. Just 24 hours. And you know what? Most of the time, the desire faded. The excitement cooled. I realized I didn't really need that thing. And in that space, in that pause, I found power. I found the ability to take control instead of letting my whims and impulses run the show. Now I'm asking you to build that same muscle. Pick your number. Maybe it's $50, maybe it's $100, and make it a rule that any purchase over that amount gets a 24-hour pause. And during that pause, think about your bigger picture. Think about your goals, your dreams, your legacy. Ask yourself, is this purchase moving me closer to wealth or pulling me further away? Because wealth doesn't come from earning more and more, it comes from mastering what you already have. And mastery begins with restraint. It begins with the courage to wait. And in that waiting, you'll find the seeds of lasting financial success. Relying on just one source of income is like putting all your eggs in one fragile basket and hoping it never falls. I learned this lesson the hard way early in my life. When I depended solely on my day job, any disruption, unexpected expense, a company downturn felt like a threat to my entire livelihood. It created stress, uncertainty, and limited my ability to grow financially. But here's what changed everything for me. I realized that true financial security and growth come not from a single paycheck, but from multiple streams of income flowing in together. You see, the economy is unpredictable. Jobs can disappear overnight. Markets can shift without warning, and relying on just one source puts you at the mercy of forces outside your control. That's why building a second income stream isn't just a nice idea, it's a necessity. It's not about abandoning your job, but about creating a safety net, a foundation that supports you through change and opens doors to new opportunities. Think about your skills, your passions, your experience. There is something you know, something you can offer that others need. Maybe it's teaching, consulting, crafting, or even a small online business. I started with small efforts on weekends, investing my time outside of regular work hours. What began as a side hustle grew into a powerful asset that didn't just supplement my income, it changed my entire financial outlook. Diversifying your income is like planting seeds in different fields. Some may grow faster, others slower, but together they create a harvest that is stronger and more resilient than any single crop. This isn't just a strategy for investments in stocks or real estate. It applies to your earnings as well. Multiple streams reduce risk and increase your financial freedom. So, I challenge you to start looking beyond the paycheck. What can you create, offer, or build that will bring in money besides your main job? Use your weekends, evenings, or spare moments. Turn your skills into service. Every dollar earned outside your primary income is a step toward independence. It's not just about working harder, but working smarter and broader. The sooner you begin, the stronger your financial foundation becomes. Comparison is the thief of joy, and in the world of wealth and success, it can be the greatest obstacle standing between you and your financial freedom. I've seen it time and time again, people trapped on what I call the comparison treadmill, endlessly measuring their worth and progress against others. They look at a neighbor's new car, a colleague's bigger paycheck, or a friend's seemingly effortless success, and they feel discouraged or left behind. But here's the truth. Comparing your journey to someone else's highlight reel will only drain your energy and cloud your focus. I remember early in my career, I caught myself falling into this trap. I saw others succeeding faster, earning more, or taking glamorous paths, and it made me question my own efforts. But the real breakthrough came when I shifted my mindset from trying to keep up with others to creating my own vision, my own definition of success. That change wasn't just freeing, it was empowering. Wealth is not a race or a contest judged by external markers. It's a personal journey shaped by your values, your goals, and your unique circumstances. The moment you start measuring your progress against your own past achievements rather than someone else's highlight reel, you reclaim your power. You stop wasting time and energy on envy and distraction and start focusing on action, growth, and creation. Create a vision for your life home that excites you and aligns with your deepest desires. Write it down, break it into achievable steps, track your progress not by what others have, but by how far you've come. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small, and learn from setbacks without judgment. When you do this, wealth becomes a reflection of your values and efforts, not a comparison to someone else's success story. Remember, every wealthy person you admire started somewhere. They faced doubts, setbacks, and moments of comparison, but what set them apart was their commitment to create their own path, not to mimic someone else's. The freedom and wealth you seek come when you stop watching others run their race and start running your own with purpose, discipline, and pride. I can tell you, one of the most powerful lessons I learned early on was this simple truth. You cannot improve what you do not measure. When it comes to your finances, that means you must track your money diligently. For many people, money feels like an elusive force coming and going without rhyme or reason, slipping through their fingers like water. But when you begin to track every dollar, every expense, every debt, and every asset, you gain clarity. You shine a light on where your money is actually going instead of guessing or hoping. I recall a time when I thought I had a handle on my finances, but it wasn't until I sat down and documented every transaction, every bill, every receipt, that I saw the truth. Small, unnoticed expenses were adding up, and certain habits were quietly eroding my financial foundation. When I began to use a simple spreadsheet to track monthly income and outgoings, it was like opening a window to a room I had never truly seen before. Tracking your money is not about creating stress or obsessing over every penny. It's about empowerment. It allows you to identify wasteful spending and redirect that money toward your goals. It helps you see how much debt you carry and plan how to pay it down. It reveals how your assets grow and where you might need to invest more wisely. The data becomes your roadmap. Today, technology makes this easier than ever. Budgeting apps are available that categorize your spending automatically, send reminders, and show you trends over time. But if you prefer, a simple spreadsheet or even a notebook can be enough, as long as you are consistent. The key is to make tracking a habit, a non-negotiable part of your financial routine. When you measure your money, you start making conscious decisions rather than reacting emotionally. You replace confusion and anxiety with control and confidence. Over time, this practice builds discipline, the cornerstone of wealth. Because without discipline, even the highest income can slip away. If you want to change your financial life, start by knowing exactly where you stand. Track your money every month. See the patterns. Take control. Because in the end, the road to financial freedom is paved with clear, honest knowledge of your money's journey. Let me tell you something vital that too many overlook. Fear of selling is fear of success. Now, selling isn't about manipulation or pushing something unwanted. Selling is simply the art of serving others with clarity, sharing ideas, solutions, and value in a way that benefits both parties. Yet many shy away from it, believing that selling is somehow beneath them or that it's a dirty game reserved for the pushy and the loud. That kind of thinking holds people back from building wealth because selling is at the heart of every business and every transaction of value. Early in my life, I struggled with this very fear. I didn't want to be seen as a salesman. I thought that meant being aggressive or insincere. But what changed everything was learning that selling is about communication and connection. It's about understanding what someone needs and then offering a solution that improves their life. It's about clarity, honesty, and confidence. When you grasp that selling is serving, you take away the fear and replace it with purpose. You don't need to be born a natural salesperson. This is a skill you develop with practice. I remember the first time I took a sales course, I was amazed at how much there was to learn techniques of listening, framing ideas, building trust, and overcoming objections without pressure. Reading books and role-playing conversations made the unfamiliar feel natural. Over time, this skill became a powerful tool in building wealth because it opened doors to opportunities, partnerships, and revenue streams I never thought possible. Wealthy people don't just accumulate money, they create value and sell that value repeatedly. Whether you're selling a product, a service, or even an idea, mastering ethical persuasion means you're constantly providing solutions that help others succeed. And when you serve others well, you don't just earn money, you earn respect, loyalty, and the foundation for lasting success. So if selling scares you, face it head on. Take a class, read a book, practice conversations with friends or mentors, learn to communicate your value clearly and confidently. Selling is not a dirty word, it's a powerful way to serve and build wealth. Once you embrace this, your path forward will become much clearer. There's a subtle trap many fall into without even realizing it. The habit of consuming more than creating. We live in a world overflowing with contentless scrolling, constant watching, and never-ending consumption, yet consumption alone will never build wealth. It fills your mind but leaves your hands empty. If you want to change your financial destiny, you must shift from being a passive consumer to becoming an active creator. In my early days, I noticed how easy it was to get caught up in consuming advice, books, and videos, yet not take any action beyond absorbing information. It was like filling a bucket with holes in the bottom. No matter how much I poured in, nothing stayed. The moment I started creating, writing my thoughts, teaching others, and building projects, everything shifted. Creation is the mindset of a builder, and builders are the ones who shape their future. Think about it. Wealth doesn't come from just knowing ideas. It comes from applying those ideas, from making something tangible that adds value to the world. When you write, teach, or build, you're not only producing, but also internalizing and mastering your craft. This active involvement creates momentum and positions you as someone who makes things happen rather than someone who waits for things to happen. It's not about abandoning learning, but about balancing consumption with creation. For every hour you spend scrolling, commit an equal or greater amount of time to producing. Write a journal entry, start a blog, share what you've learned with a friend, or create a small project related to your goals. This daily practice rewires your brain, builds confidence, and turns ideas into income. Remember, passive consumption feeds distraction and doubt, while creation feeds purpose and progress. The richest people in the world didn't get there by watching others succeed. They created their own success step by step. You can do the same by shifting your mindset, committing to action, and becoming a creator in your own right. Creation is the language of wealth, and by speaking it daily, you build a life of abundance and meaning. One of the most overlooked foundations of financial success is having an emergency fund. Many people think of it as a luxury or something to worry about later. But in reality, it's the bedrock of true financial strength. Without a cushion set aside, a single unexpected expense, a car repair, medical bill, or sudden job loss can send you spiraling into debt and derail your entire journey toward wealth. I remember early in my life when a minor car repair cost me more than I had on hand. I had no emergency fund, and suddenly I was forced to borrow, scrambling to cover basic needs. That experience was painful, but invaluable. Light taught me that financial progress isn't just about making money or saving diligently, it's about protecting what you've built. The first step is simple but powerful. Save your first dollar, 1,000, as quickly as you can. That initial milestone is more than just a number. It's a statement to yourself that you are serious about control and security. That $1,000 acts like a shock absorber for life's unexpected bumps, preventing you from taking steps backward when challenges arise. Once you have that initial cushion, the goal is to build an emergency fund that covers 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Think of it as a fortress around your financial progress. It's not just safety, it's strength and freedom. When you have money set aside for emergencies, you can face setbacks without panic, keep making sound decisions, and avoid the emotional trap of stress-driven spending. Many delay starting an emergency fund because they feel they don't earn enough or have too many expenses. But that's precisely why it's crucial to begin now. Small, consistent contributions, no matter how modest, add up over time and create a powerful safety net. Set up an automatic transfer if you can, and treat it as a non-negotiable expense. This fund also changes your mindset. Knowing you have a backup plan shifts you from reactive to proactive. You stop living paycheck to paycheck, stop borrowing to survive, and start living with confidence and peace. That peace is the quiet power behind every wise financial decision. Building an emergency fund is not just about money. It's about building resilience, discipline, and control. It protects your progress and ensures that a temporary setback doesn't become a permanent one. The sooner you start, the sooner you gain that strength. Begin today and make your financial future unshakable. Fear of risk is one of the greatest obstacles standing between many people and financial success. It's a natural feeling. The uncertainty of putting your hard-earned money into something unfamiliar can be intimidating. But the truth is, avoiding risk altogether is actually the riskiest choice of all because it leads to stagnation, missed opportunities, and eventual decline. The key is not to jump blindly, but neither should you freeze in place. Instead, educate yourself, take calculated steps, and grow from every experience. When I first started investing, I wasn't handed a blueprint or told exactly what to do. I made mistakes, sure, but the difference between me and many others was that I kept learning. I read, asked questions, sought mentors, and studied every opportunity before putting my money on the line. That was the education part. Understanding what I was investing in, how it worked, what the risks were, and how to manage them. You don't have to start with a fortune. Begin small. That's where many people get it wrong. They wait to have enough money, and meanwhile, time passes them by. Start with what you can afford to lose, even if it's a modest amount. This isn't about reckless gambling. It's about controlled, informed experimentation. Over time, as you review your results and learn from them, you will improve your judgment and confidence. Calculated risk means weighing potential gains against potential losses. It means doing your homework and having a clear plan. It means diversifying your investments so you don't put all your eggs in one basket. But above all, it means moving forward, even if uncertainty looms. Because wealth isn't built by waiting for perfect certainty, it's built by action, adaptation, and perseverance. Think about the great entrepreneurs and investors you admire. Their success didn't come from avoiding risk, it came from managing risk wisely. They understood the value of patience, education, and courage. They didn't let fear freeze their progress. They used it as a signal to prepare better. When you decide to take calculated risks, you shift from being a spectator in your financial life to being the architect. You gain control over your future instead of leaving it to chance. That's empowerment. And it's the foundation for building true wealth. So, don't let fear of risk hold you back. Commit to learning, Start small, evaluate carefully, and grow steadily. Calculated risks aren't just dangerous leaps, they are the stepping stones to lasting financial freedom. If you want to build wealth and change your financial future, cultivating a reading habit isn't just helpful, it's essential. The problem many face isn't a lack of intelligence or opportunity, but a lack of knowledge. And knowledge comes from learning, from absorbing the wisdom of those who have walked the path before you. The truth is, reading just 10 pages a day can change your life more than any other habit because it builds your mind, expands your thinking, and rewires your mindset for success. When I first started, I didn't have a lot of money or resources, but I had access to books. I made it a daily practice to read something valuable, whether it was about finance, mindset, or productivity. Each book brought insights that would have taken me years to discover through trial and error alone. Imagine compressing 5 years of costly mistakes and false starts into a few hundred pages of wisdom shared by someone who already succeeded. Reading is not just about acquiring facts, it's about transforming your way of thinking. The way you think about money, success, and life determines your results. When you feed your mind consistently with the right material, your beliefs and habits begin to shift. You start seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. You develop strategies to overcome challenges that once seemed impossible. Your mindset grows from scarcity to abundance. The beauty of reading daily is that it builds momentum. 10 pages may seem small, but over weeks and months it compounds into a deep reservoir of knowledge and confidence. When you're faced with financial decisions, you'll draw from this well of understanding rather than guesswork or fear. The choices you make become smarter, and the actions you take more deliberate. Many people resist reading because they feel they don't have the time, but the truth is, everyone has the same 24 hours. It's about priorities. Just 10 pages can take you 15 to 20 minutes of small investment that pays massive dividends. If you think about it, spending those minutes each day feeding your mind is like planting seeds in a garden. Over time, those seeds grow into a harvest of wealth, wisdom, and success. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start. Begin today. Pick a book on money, mindset, or productivity. Open it. Read 10 pages. Let that simple habit take root. Over time, you'll find that your thinking sharpens, your confidence grows, and your financial life begins to reflect the new knowledge you're absorbing. One book can replace years of costly mistakes. One page at a time, you're building the foundation for lasting wealth. As we come to the close of this conversation, remember this. Wealth is not a secret reserved for the fortunate few, nor is it a destination reached by chance. It is a journey shaped by the daily decisions you make, the mindset you cultivate, and the habits you commit to building. You have within you the power to change your financial story, not tomorrow, not someday, but starting right now. The moment you decide to think differently about money, to take responsibility for your financial future, everything changes. You must stop waiting for the perfect time or the perfect opportunity. The truth is, the only perfect time is now. Wealth begins in the mind before it shows up in your bank account. It grows from discipline, from clarity of purpose, and from the courage to act even when the path isn't easy or certain. Every small step you take saving a little more, learning a little more, planning a little better builds momentum. That momentum will carry you toward the life you want and deserve. But knowledge alone is not enough. You have to move beyond listening and reading and step into action. What gets done is more powerful than what gets known. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is bridged by consistent, purposeful action. So, I challenge you today. Take one simple step. Write down your financial goals. Track your expenses for 1 week. Set up a small automatic savings plan. Pick up that book you've been meaning to read and commit to 10 pages a day. Whatever it is, do it now. So, your future self will thank you. You are the architect of your life, the master of your money, and the creator of your legacy. Don't leave your wealth to chance. Build it with intention. Cut through excuses, think success, and act daily. The path to financial freedom is open to anyone willing to walk it. So, rise up with a new mindset, a new plan, and a new determination. Begin today, not next week, not next year. Start small, stay consistent, and watch how your life transforms. The power is in your hands. Take it and build the wealth you deserve.